아들이 집에 내려오고 나서부터 이상해. 누가 방에다 나갔어. 죽여버릴 거야. 가장 무서운 게 뭔지 알아?
What's up, guys? This is Kyle with Horror File Reviews. Coming back, pretty excited about this new series I got going on. I asked you guys on the 22 Shots of Moods and Horror Facebook page what you guys would think about me doing a Tartan Asia Extreme basically series. If you guys don't know what Tartan Asia Extreme is, it's basically there's a line of movies that they're now defunct. I mean, they're not no longer they no longer put out releases, but it was a company, basically Tartan, that they release all kinds of different. They have a bunch of different lines of movies. They release all kinds of different stuff, but they had a line of movies called the Asia Extreme line. And basically, it's just Asian, Korean, Asian, all kinds of Asian horror movies. Some of them are really, really extreme. Some of them aren't. But it's just their line of movies for their Asian Extreme line. I'm going to be doing a series. I don't really have a planned set of when I'm going to upload what, but I'm just going to do a series of movies, in between some of my other reviews and stuff, where I'm going to upload some of their Asian Extreme lines or their Asia Extreme line movies. I wanted to kick it off right. They have a lot of really cool titles out there. A lot of ones I'm interested in. They actually have a lot of. I'm a big Takashi Miike fan, as you guys know. My last DVD Blu-ray update, I had a ton of his films that I picked up, but they actually have a lot of his films on the list. But I wanted to start off with something. It's not a Takashi Miike film, but I wanted to start out with something that would be really interesting, really cool. This is actually by a very well-known director as well. This movie, and I had to take notes, guys. I took a good bit of notes because this was a kind of a hard one to review, and there's actually a lot of interesting facts about it I didn't want to leave out, so I took some notes. This is A Tale of Two Sisters. Sorry about the glare. Tale of Two Sisters. This movie came out in 2004. It is a Korean horror movie. And as you can see at the top, I don't know if you guys could tell, it says Tartan Asia Extreme. That's the line of releasing. But this is a movie by Kim Ji-woon, who also did I Saw the Devil. And he also, which interestingly enough, I didn't know, he did The Last Stand. It's some newer Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. I heard it wasn't that bad. He actually directed that as well. He's actually directed a lot of movies. So before we get into the synopsis of this movie, I kind of wanted to go over some interesting facts I found about this movie. This is the highest grossing Korean horror movie of all time. I don't know how much it made. I didn't get an actual figure. It didn't tell me an actual figure of how much this movie actually made. But it is the highest grossing Korean horror movie of all time. It kind of surprised me, considering I kind of thought I Saw the Devil might be a higher grossing one than this, just because I personally thought it was a better movie. But a lot of people, I mean, this has a really big following, really cult following. Something else I found really interesting about this movie that I had no idea was there was actually an American remake of this movie with a different title. It was a movie called The Uninvited. I remembered the movie. I never saw The Uninvited. I remembered they made it, but I had no idea that it was a remake to this movie. The actual original name was going to be A Tale of Two Sisters, but at the last minute they changed it to The Uninvited. Probably because I guess the uninvited sounds like more for like layman's terms. I guess it's with American remakes, you never know what they're going to do. So this movie actually, before they called it A Tale of Two Sisters, they were going to call it a different title, which was a really weird Korean name. I'm not going to try to say what it is, but it was a really weird. They were going to call it this name. Actually, when it was released in the United States and everything, they were going to actually call it this Korean name, but they changed it last minute to A Tale of Two Sisters because they thought it'd be easier to, I guess, get out there and an easier name for people to be able to pronounce. Some other stuff. This was actually the first Korean movie also that had a limited run in American theaters. That I thought was really, really neat. It actually made, I think it said $80,000 during a limited run in 2004 in American cinema or American theaters. So I thought that was a really cool, neat little aspect to it. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get into the plot. I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys before I kind of get into the plot about my opinions on the movie. I'll tell you a couple opinions, and then we'll kind of get in the plot, and I'll tell you my opinions afterwards. I like this movie. I definitely thought it was a great movie. It was a very artsy movie, very hard to follow at times. If you're not really into Korean cinema, or you don't really know a lot about Korean cinema, or even like Asian cinema in general, there's some of the Asian movies that you watch out there, some of them are hard to follow, or they have a plot line that's kind of, iffy if you're just coming into horror. I don't recommend people that are just coming into horror to start watching Asian horror, just because they make American remakes for people that, a lot of the American remakes they make are obviously for people that are either coming into horror or for the general, I watch a horror movie here and there kind of person. Korean and Asian horror movies are, most of the time the plot lines are a little bit harder to follow. Sometimes if you haven't seen the remake already and you're not really, because remakes to me, I'm not a big remake person, but I'm not against remakes. Remakes to me help the viewer understand the movie better. I feel like they're made to help the viewer, because I feel like the Asian version of the movie was somewhat probably hard to follow, or the not just Asian, but whatever country the movie came out in may have been hard to follow. A lot of the original time frame of movies were hard to follow, in my opinion, that I've seen, or sort of hard to follow, especially with subtitles and stuff. It could be confusing, and the American remakes are a simplified version of the movie. So that's kind of maybe my interpretation of maybe how The Uninvited is to this. I've never seen The Uninvited, but I'm sure it probably is. I know it did very well in theaters. But to kind of get in the movie, get in the plot, let me go ahead and I'm going to put my glasses on because I have really bad eyes, and I took a lot of notes on this. This was kind of a weird movie to follow. The movie opens, you got two characters. You got Soo-mi and Soo-yeon. They're both sisters. They're the main characters of the movie, and then you have their stepmother and their father. Which it shows a couple of scenes after the movie starts. But the movie opens to Soo-mi, which is this one on that would be my right, your guy's probably left. That's Soo-mi, and that's Soo-yeon, and there's the father and the stepmother, which are all four main characters. Opens to Soo-mi being treated for shock therapy and psychosis therapy in a mental institution. So the movie starts out, you see her in the mental institution. She's being asked all these questions like, what happened before you came here? Why did you come here? By the doctors. And Soo-mi doesn't really have her saying anything. And then it zooms out, and it ends up it pans out and it shows her and her sister returning to her father's estate. They get out of the car and they're walking around. You don't really get any backstory. It just shows them showing up at their father's estate. They get out of the car with their father and their stepmother, and they go into the house. The Soo-mi is really kind of upset because her father pretty much remarried this lady right here. Remarried to her stepmother, and her stepmother was actually a former nurse for her mother, who's actually dead in the movie. She actually nursed her mother when her mother was dying, and she found out this through pictures in the house. Her father never told her this, and she starts to kind of rebel against her father and rebel against the stepmother. She doesn't like the stepmother. She's always calling her names and bitching at her, and just kind of being a little bitch, to be honest with you. Just being a typical teenage girl to her stepmother. The other daughter, Soo-yeon, she's kind of quiet. I don't know. It doesn't really explain if she has something wrong with her, but she's very quiet, very introverted. Doesn't really talk much. Kind of lets the stepmother walk all over her. The father's a really nice guy. You kind of feel bad for the guy. His daughter's a bitch. I mean, well, she has somewhat right to be. And the stepmother's kind of like going behind his back, like bitching at his kids. He doesn't really know it. And when they tell him, the father doesn't believe it. And then throughout the movie, starting the movie right after, within the first 30, 45 minutes, these ghosts start appearing in the house. So you start seeing scenes of where the stepmom, she sees a ghost at one point underneath the kitchen sink, which is a really creepy scene, by the way. Like, when I first watched this movie, I'm normally one of those kind of typical horror movie guys. I don't really jump for jump scares because I see them coming. But this had some jump scares in it, I will say, that were very, very creepy and very eerie to watch. Like, you think they're going to come, and then you don't know what you're going to expect, and they're just really, like, Korean and Asian movies have the craziest scenes, like the craziest looking things in their movies. But anyway, ghosts start appearing throughout the house. Sumi and stepmother start seeing these ghosts, and, they report it to the father. The father doesn't see it. They're like, what the fuck? He's like, what the fuck is going on? What are they talking about? The stepmom thinks the sister, Soo Young, is killing her. The sister, which is Soo Young, which is the one that right here. I never showed you her. The one that's right here. She thinks that she's killing her birds. So she has like a bunch of birds in the house that she, I guess they're her like pets. And she noticed that the father. She walked in one day and saw the father looking into the bird cage, and one of the birds' necks was snapped. So she goes into Soo Young's room. She pulls back the covers, and there's another bird with its neck snapped. So she locks Soo Young in the closet and kind of like starts mentally torturing her throughout the middle of this movie. So she thinks she's causing trouble and locks her in the closet. Then obviously Sumi, the other sister, comes back and rescues her, and the sisters are really, really close throughout the movie. I really don't want to ruin anything about this movie, because if I tell you, there's a lot of aspects of this movie. If I tell you guys, it's going to completely spoil the movie, and that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to give you my opinions on the movie. I just wanted to kind of give you a back idea of how this movie is. I'm pretty sure most of you guys probably maybe have seen this movie or heard of it. Yeah, so throughout the movie, it shows Sumi and stepmom arguing and father and her arguing. So throughout the movie, pretty much, without spoiling anything, pretty much the first half to maybe more than half of the movie is just all of them arguing. Like, the sister, Sumi, is arguing with the mom, the stepmom, the father. She's just rebelling. She's just mad. There's a huge scene where you kind of find out certain aspects of why she's acting like this. There's a really, really big kind of like twist toward the end. That's like, I sort of saw it coming at one point, but it kind of gets more in depth with it. And the ending is really, really good in my opinion. It's definitely, if I thought this movie came out recently, I probably would be like, that's kind of like ripping off some of these other movies. But it really had a good twist at the end. It had a really good, artsy feel toward the movie. Like, there was a lot of good like visuals in the movie, a lot of practical effects that I saw with some of the horror images that looked really, really cool. There wasn't like really any CGI or anything like that I could tell. Overall, I would give A Tale of Two Sisters on a scale from 1 to 10. I would probably give this about an 8. I really thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I do feel like the director's best movie was I Saw the Devil. That's like one of my favorite movies of all time. It is amazing. It's not really a horror movie, but it's a really amazing revenge movie. I really recommend you guys checking it out. I've never done a review on it, but very highly recommend that one. There really isn't much to review. Just go see it. It's really, really good. But this was a close tie to the second. I really enjoyed this movie. It definitely, the next movies I watch by the Tartan line are probably going to really have to match up to this one. I really felt like the storyline was very, very good and very driven. Here's some of the back of the cover. Sorry if I know there's like a big glare on this, but yeah, I mean, you could probably pick this movie. I think I paid like $12 for this movie. It's still kind of expensive just because it's pretty popular. You can also, if you wanted to, watch the remake, The Uninvited. I might watch that one day. I've never seen it. If you guys have seen it and can let me know what it's like, let me know in the comments below. If I honestly have no idea. I don't have it or anything. Really cool release. It came with the little liner notes and the DVD. I don't think this has a Blu-ray release, but it's unrated. It's got a bunch of extras on the DVD. Obviously the English subtitles. You got commentary with the director and the stars. You get original promotional footage. There's a hidden letter from Sue Young in it. I haven't seen that yet. I might have to check it out. I didn't even know it was on there. But I guess it's like a little letter from her, from the one sister that's very quiet. So yeah, definitely check it out. Highly recommend A Tale of Two Sisters. If there's any Tartan movies that you guys have seen that are really good that you'd like for me to review, I'm trying to do some pretty in-depth reviews with these. This was kind of a hard one to follow. The storyline was, I had to go back and watch a couple of scenes over again. I watched it late at night, but it was kind of a hard, storyline to follow because there's certain aspects of it that were kind of odd and you have to think about. But that's why I want to take some notes on it, just so I can give you guys the best synopsis possible. But yeah, if there's any Tartan movies you guys want to see me review, leave me comments, like this video, subscribe. If there's any Korean movies or any Asian movies you guys want to see me do, definitely let me know. I feel like Korean and Asian cinema is probably some of the best cinema out there. I'm really highly excited to do this series for you guys. And until next time, peace out and see you later. Deuces.